Welcome everybody. Thank you for those that have joined us for our AGM this year. Our theme is a year in development. Just to note, we are recording this, so you are live, please do not swear. Throughout this session, we're going to talk about some of the things we've been up to as a team and do some introductions because there's some new faces on board. But also it's going to be an interactive session as well. So there's an opportunity for us to learn a little bit what you think development looks like in the next kind of coming years. Initially, I'd like to welcome our new people to the team and kind of introduce you to some of the faces. So I'll start with myself and then I'll work around this room and then we'll go across to Helen, who has joined us virtually. So I'm Wayne Young. I'm the chair of the People Development SIG. I've been in role for 2 years now. Yeah, we've done a fair bit in those 2 years, but we've been quite quiet in the background working away at it. So this year we're going to talk about what we're going to do more publicly. I'll pass over to Chan.
Chandra Hughes. I'm secretary of the People Development SIG, been in the SIG for coming on 9 years now, and I've been in FM for over 25 years. Over to Bill.
Good morning, everybody. My name's Bill Gabriel. I'm again a new recruit to the SIG committee. I retired from full-time working last June after working in various engineering and FM safety type roles for quite a number of years, and latterly the last 5 years with the Government Property Agency. And hopefully I can add some weight and support to the committee in terms of events and other things to support everyone.
Fantastic. Helen?
That leaves me. I'm Helen Kenyon. I'm the Deputy Chair for People Development. I've been in FM for about 20 years, and if you'd seen my history, you would have seen I've worked in all different sectors, but a huge advocate of training and development, and I'm just keen to see how we can help people out there.
Fantastic. Ian, do you want to do a brief introduction to who you are, for those people that may not know who you are?
Yeah, quite happy to. Ian Christopher, I'm the Volunteer Partnership Manager for IWFM. So I'm the fortunate person who gets to work with these lovely people on a regular basis. So I get the easy job.
Yes, and we appreciate you, Ian, so thank you. Yes, so a year in development. So we as a SIG have spent probably 2 years developing who we are and what we are. So when I first joined the role as chair, we changed our name to People Development from People Management, and we've been going through what that looks like, really creating what our strategy and vision looks like, and looking at how we move forward in that vision and what we deliver. This year mostly has been looking at recruitment, so like Bill and Helen have mentioned, they're very much welcome new volunteers to our SIG, and also looking at how we can use our relationships beyond kind of our SIG to grow our impact. So for ourselves, it's been a relatively busy background period. We've been busy just setting ourselves up and making sure that for the future we can deliver what we want. 2025-26 is going to be the year where we start coming out of the shadows and more into the light, and we've seen that already this year with one of the events we held around the experiential route to chartered certified IWFM. So yeah, we're starting to do some more events. We've got a few more planned this year as well already, and there's opportunities coming up all the time of things we'll be getting involved in also. Our next year focuses around 3 kind of key points. So, and I'll explore these a little bit later, but community engagement is really important to us. So we'll be working with our fellow communities, i.e. the networks and the regions, to bring some more engagement around people development, but also hold joint events and that kind of type stuff. We'll be looking at what development themes are coming up, i.e. what do we need as an industry sector to develop to be fit for the future. But we're also going to be looking at how we can engage externally as well. So not just within IWFM and our communities, but also how we can develop beyond that and work alongside external parties and bring some of that really good work that's happening out in the sector as well to life. I know of a number of companies that are doing some really good and exciting things around people development, and it's about bringing those out and sharing that with everybody so we can use that as good practice. This is our agenda for today. So we've been through the chair's welcome. There is some apologies. So Kova, who is our other member of the SIG, is unable to attend today. However, she has been brought up to date with the details of the AGM today as well. So there is some elements that we need to go through from an AGM perspective, for a governance perspective, but there is also a piece where I'd very much welcome a two-way conversation across the board, and we'll get into those shortly. So
I'll just make a point, sorry Wayne to interrupt your flow. If anybody has any questions as we go through, because everyone's on mute at the moment, if you put them in the chat, I will see them and I can bring them to the attention. And then later on, when we're looking at sort of more interaction, I'll happily unmute everybody.
Appreciate that, Ian. Thank you. So we'll go into kind of the review of the minutes of the previous AGM.
There was nothing outstanding of the previous AGM to comment on, to be honest. So no matters arising. It's just going to be a comment. And then we move to this meeting.
Yeah.
And that's election of committee members. And just where we're at, to be honest, in terms of committee members. So current structure, we've got Wayne as chair, Helen as deputy, me as secretary, Kova is social media coordinator, and Bill treasurer. Okay, so that's the current structure. In terms of who's in post at the moment, I think everybody's within the period. I think you're probably due re-election actually.
What's it, 2 years?
Every 2 years.
Yeah.
I think mine hit last year. So yeah, it's a due re-election for Wayne if you want to be re-elected. I think, but he probably does.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna nominate and.
I'll second.
Yeah.
Thank you, guys.
Yeah, we're definitely keeping you, Wayne.
Thanks.
Okay. Other than that, I think everyone's in post for a short period of time, so that's fine. Who have we lost over the year?
Yeah, so unfortunately this year we lost David Kentish so he left as deputy, and also Alison left. So our previous chair, for those that weren't aware, also left our SIG. Both did outstanding voluntary service to the SIG and IWFM, and we commend them for that as well.
They did for a number of years.
Yeah.
Which reminds me, we should have sent them a
Yes.
gift
Yeah.
to be followed up.
Yes. Yeah. Thank you.
And then other than that, I think that's election of members, where we're at, mission statement. So yeah, I don't know what the mission statement, looking at what we've had historically, have we got any changes to that in terms of objectives and what we want to achieve?
No. So that for those on the call, I've put the slide up for the mission statement. So this is the one we went through last year. It hasn't changed any, and is also now aligned, or we have aligned this with IWFM. So the SIG development piece that's been ongoing as well within IWFM aligns quite closely to this as well. So yeah, to reiterate what that looks like is, so we focus on people leadership and career development in the workplace facilities management industry. I think we're all very committed to that, and as a committee, that's the reason why we're here. We're going to champion the highest standards of leadership and development, and we do that through our day-to-day jobs, but also in the conversations we have externally and internally within IWFM. I know Helen does quite a bit of work in terms of some of the membership council meetings for some of that as well. And this is some of the areas of development that we're looking at this year also. So provide direct and indirect access to information and knowledge. And it's covering up, so I can't read it. Bear me a second. Knowledge and expertise on aspects of people development. So this is an area where we will grow and develop this over the next kind of year to 2 years and 5 years, as we'll talk about going forwards. This is about that internal, external engagement piece that we want to be doing. As with many other communities, we promote workplace facilities management as a career of choice, and we'll be doing that again through some of the external and internal engagement pieces. And one of the bits that I think is quite key is developing a career pathway for workplace facility management professionals, and working quite closely with the training team within IWFM around what that looks like, and creating a good standard of direction for anybody who works in our profession. Okay, moving forwards then. So this might be the more engaging piece for those that are ready to talk. So from my perspective, I've done a lot of thinking about this, people development themes for the next 5 years. I think there's a lot of conversation around this in the industry, and this is where I welcome everybody on the call to get involved here. From my perspective, and for my drive in terms of thought process on this, these are the 3 things I can think that are going to drive people development over the next kind of 5 years. So skill shortages, and that I'm talking not necessarily just about the hard service skill shortages. I'm talking about a lot of those soft skills. We were talking briefly before the call started about how technologies develop to such a way where actually some of those softer skills in terms of people skills are somewhat lost in some ways. So some of those elements of it, and how we kind of recapture that and make sure we keep that going. But likewise, the development in technology, you can't have a conversation at the moment without talking about AI and all that kind of technology that's around at the moment. So yeah, how do we set up the industry and the sector to work in that new world? Not only for new starters, but people coming in who are existing in the industry and learning a new skill set who necessarily won't have done previously. And then, as I touched on before, pathways. So I think it's really important for us to create an engaging sector and industry whereby if you are a cleaner, you are a security officer, you are a whatever that might be in the industry, there's a drive of progression development, because that's how we retain people within the industry, and they've got to be able to see that there's a career ahead of them. Otherwise they'll go to other careers as opposed to that within the workplace facilities management arena. I open it up to everybody. What does everybody else think then? Is there anything different anybody else sees in the next 5 years? Anything we should be looking at as a SIG? Ian, if you can release everybody to talk.
I'm currently trying to do that.
Is there anybody on the table who's got any thoughts on that? Last Ian's.
Well, I think there's a really good opportunity, harping back to the event we had with the experiential route for membership, and getting people more recognition, who can't necessarily spare the time to do the level 6 diploma. So I think that's definitely one of the focus areas, and where I've had colleagues who have come and spoken to me and see it as a great opportunity to demonstrate their experience and get recognition, which I think will help promote people's skills and keep them in the industry as well, rather than feeling a little bit sort of left out.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Helen, have you got anything to add?
No, I think the biggest threat, if you will, for me is the fact that obviously the population that we've got in FM at the minute will age out, and it's how do we get people that are in those, like say, on the pathway, those maybe entry-level positions, or don't even know FM exists. How do we sort of get them to develop themselves so that there is somebody to transition into the roles as they start to become vacant. That to me, I think, is a big challenge that we need to have a think about and we need to work on. And a lot of that will be done through people development. So it's just helping to, I guess, show people ways and opportunities and trying to get the experience of people that have already been through that journey passed down to them so that they see that benefit.
Yeah.
I think also the apprenticeship route is a very good route. And I know we've introduced that in our organisation in all kinds of different ways in the property industry, surveying, everything, HR and FM. So we've introduced that just last year into our organisation. I do think that's a very valuable route to entry for the younger people, and very keen to promote that.
Yes. Yeah. Do we feel there's enough conversation around that apprenticeship?
Can I just
I don't
say,
think so. I
Sean
don't
Sexton that has actually unmuted. So, Sean, did you have a point you wanted to make?
Yeah, can you hear me, by the way?
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you, Sean.
So I'm in FM recruitment, and I've been doing this for near enough 20 years. What I've seen over the last 20 years is actually kind of perhaps the industry going backwards in identifying people with skills that are transferable. So when I first started, maybe because the industry wasn't as mature, you see people move from other industries. Let's say, for example, the Royal Navy, or let's say moving from manufacturing into a data center, for example, because there were similar skill set involved. But that's not happening as much as it used to, and a lot of that, I think, is down to the relationship between contractors or managing agents and the end user. And I've seen that contractors and managing agents are less likely to go out on a limb because their client is fixated on a particular look of that person's background. You know, they need it to be exactly the same to what they currently manage. So I've seen that. In addition, you know, when I first started recruitment, people like me had a direct line into whoever the hiring manager was, and you could have that conversation around, you know, this person isn't working in this exact environment, but these are the transferable skills. I think as the industry, all recruitment kind of changed, and you've got kind of HR and internal recruitment teams taking more responsibility, you haven't got that line of communication. And also, you know, they are also looking for that exact skill set, and then a lot of good people get missed. So I've seen that, and then I think there is a skill shortage, but it might not be as big a skill shortage as you think. It's just that, you know, you've got to kind of be open with with the types of people that you're looking to bring into your business. That's my point.
Yeah, no, appreciate that, and thank you. It's a really valid point, and I think, correct me if I'm wrong, Sean, I think what I'm taking away from that is that there's not enough engagement around those transferable skills, and there's almost a gap missing where it comes to skills matrix, and how almost as an industry we should have a skills matrix that says these are the skills you need for an FM. And actually, as a recruiter, you could see, if you leave, for example, the Royal Navy, you've got leadership skill, you've got technical skills, you've got all these other bits that actually, although you're leaving from another industry, for want of a better word, you've got lots that you can pass across to other sectors.
Back in 2000, in the 2000s, I could take an artificer from the Navy and put them straight into a Savills or a Knight Frank or something like that as an engineering manager, and you just can't do that now. People are looking for like skills relating to service charge budgets and things like that. So yeah, it is missing, and I think we could probably go back to that. But you know, like I say, I think the client, whoever owns the building, has more of a sway, and you know, and I think people are less are reticent to take a risk on people. But there we go.
Yeah, appreciate that. Thank you, Sean.
Sarah Garrett's put a question in the chat. Possibly keeping on top of I'll put my teeth back in. Possibly keeping on top of legislative changes, which can be off-putting given duties applied. Confidence building in this area would be supportive, as legal changes seem to be more challenging recently. And as a subsequent question from Sarah on that, do young people actually want a career nowadays, or just a job? The younger generation isn't the same and thinks differently. Just a thought.
So it's a very interesting thought, right? And I think you're right in terms of the legislative stuff. And again, I know Bill's looking at how we can do some of that stuff coming up as well, in terms of some of the asbestos stuff. That's particularly, obviously, we've seen the new fire stuff come out on the back of that. But yeah, I think there's further development areas that we can add into that. In terms of young people wanting careers, it's a hard question. And I think it's for us as professionals to give that opportunity to young people.
I'm still seeing careers being required and wanted. The amount of applications we had for the apprentice position, there was quite a few, and also in kind of the early stage roles where we've got assistant FM positions and things like that, we seem to get a lot more candidates forward for the early level, entry level. So I still think, and I do look at transferable skills for that kind of role. Once you get to FM, who needs a bit more skill base, then I do need to have some more history. But typically I do think that people still are looking for careers. That's what I'm finding when I'm recruiting. Not everybody, obviously, but definitely in my industry where I'm at, in managing agent realms, we're getting a lot of careers being required or sought.
Yeah, I think it's about making it attractive. I think that's the reality, and I think most people, correct, want a job.
Yeah.
But actually, if you can make it an attractive career, and with that comes security, comes enjoyment, comes success, and on all those other things that comes with careers generally. I think that's how we win that argument against children and young people who want to become Instagrammers and social media people and that kind of type thing, which it seems to be on the growth. So yeah, I think it's a valid question, and I think for us as a SIG and us as an industry, we need to address that. And I think part of what we're looking to do in terms of some of those areas around pathways and stuff will hopefully come to addressing that. But it's one that we should always keep in our mind.
Helen, you had your hand up.
Yeah, it's okay. Wayne put most of it in there. I was just going to say, I think it's like anything. There's people that want a career and there's people that want a job. And I think that will always be the situation depending on people's circumstances. I think that FM as a career is still not widely publicised. I still talk to people, what do you do? And you say, oh, I'm in facilities management. And they look at you as if to say, what's that? So I think it's more about the messaging, and maybe we need to change the messaging to fit with the younger generation coming through, which I know is something that the Rising Network are really focusing on and doing a really good job. So I think it's that partnership that Wayne talked about earlier on with us, then going to some of the Risings events, going to some of the other regions and helping to show how people development can build into that, which hopefully on those pathways then will show people the career is an option. But a job is also an option as well, because there's nothing wrong with people that just want to go for a job, and there's no reason why they can't do that in FM as well.
Can I just I am not an FM professional and will never purport to be one. But I think that the interesting point that's been raised several times, and I saw it in previous incarnation when I was doing EDI, and we were trying to deal with the gender gap in STEM workers. And a lot of it, I think, is just been raised that quite a few people aren't aware that these careers or jobs, whichever one we're going for, are actually available. I know IWFM are pushing this very hard on the career of choice thing, and the SIGs, and especially your team, Wayne, helping us with that. But I do think there is a big problem of lack of awareness. I mean, Helen said it, and I've said it many times, that if you go into a school, I bet a careers officer will not mention FM because they won't understand what it is. And I think probably as a group of people here and as an institute more widely, we need to address that pretty sharpish. I'll shut up now.
Scott, I've noticed you come off mute a few times, so do you want to?
Yeah, hi Wayne, hi everybody. As similar to Sean, I'm in FM recruitment, but the point I sort of wanted to make was, yes, absolutely, about the skill shortage, and I think the work that I'm doing with the Risings, so I'm sort of North Region Risings champion, and I've done a bit of work with them at sort of careers fairs, as I have done with you guys as well, is that we go to these university careers fairs and people don't understand what FM is and whatnot. So I think when we talk about partnerships between the Risings and the people management SIG, it's almost like Elliot and the Risings team make the FM sort of entry level bit sort of sexy and whatnot, and then sort of the people management SIG really sort of get to the nitty gritty about creating those pathways, and so people that don't know what FM is, a lot of people see it as sort of, fixing stuff and cleaning stuff and whatnot, but really there is a huge career path that people can go on.
Yeah.
And I don't think the sort of longevity of the career in FM is really painted to people that are potentially there's a lot of people, university students, for example, working in facilities management already. They've got part-time jobs as cleaners or security guards or whatever, and they don't realize that if they take that post university, there is a career choice there. They're sort of they're doing a study in business management, they're working in FM, and then chasing a career in a another sector. And I think it's I think it's shouting about the success stories of people that have started at the bottom and worked their way up, and we need more maybe case studies of people's careers that we can use. I'm talking as an IWFM volunteer that stands at a career stand and tries. Yes, I'm a recruiter, so I can sell things, but really sort of using real life examples of, someone similar to you started at this point and is now up at this and whatnot, I think would be really, really good. And yeah, hopefully that made sense.
Yeah, no, thank you, Scott. Appreciate it. And I think you're right. I think that it's important to paint what success looks like in our industry as well, and what can be achieved by having a full career in FM, and whether you choose that as a job initially, and like most of us did, go, well, I'll be a caretaker like I did, and 15 years later here I am still doing it, and that's where it becomes a career, right? And actually we need to turn that, whereby actually I'm leaving school and I want to be a caretaker because that's my first rung of being in FM, but actually I know if I start as a caretaker, there's steps I can take, and that's what we want to create, is that carry on that brilliant work that the Risings are doing and work with them and create that fulfilling career opportunity for other people. I'm very conscious of time, so unless there's anything anybody's got that's burning, I'd like to move on. Good. Okay, thank you everybody for your input there, appreciated. So our focus points for 2025, and we've touched a lot on this, right? So community engagement is really key. So it's working with the risings, it's working with the senior leaders and working with the veterans communities to talk about kind of how, once we've kind of started to talk to them about a career in FM, is how we develop that career and what opportunities there are in that career, and using success stories in that, i.e. there's some really, really powerful people in our industry who have created really interesting careers from leaving the armed forces or starting off young and developing a career in that as well, but also working with some of those senior leaders about what did they do in their careers that enabled that success and what that looks like for them. So yeah, that community engagement is really important. Likewise, a lot of the engagement out and about within the regions. So there's a whole network of people that are actively engaged within IWFM within the networks and getting ourselves out to talk about people development with those people as well. So if they've not thought about what their next steps in, and likely is if they're at a networking event, they are thinking about next steps, is actually talking to them about the future of their FM career and what that looks like and how we as an industry can help that. Developing relationships with industry leaders in people development, like I touched on, there is a lot of really good work going on out there in terms of some companies are already creating pathways for internal pathways for their people. It's about how we can bring that to light and share that across the industry. That people are doing the work for us already. It's about how we tap into that and create a standard that is used across the industry, and IWFM can really shout and implement as well with the power of we've got in terms of the training and development stuff as well. And then, yeah, working alongside our IWFM colleagues to begin that pathway and mapping out pathways of development. For me, we're already starting this conversation. There's a couple of new members of the central team of IWFM that we're already talking to about what that looks like. The vision is that effectively, if you are a cleaner, to choose a career, actually, how do you become an FM? How do you become whatever that you might choose to be at that time? And identifying the training steps, the development steps within that, so you can really clearly see a career pathway as opposed to I'm just a cleaner, which is a pet hate. So those are the things that we're going to be working through 2025 and beyond, no doubt, because there's quite a lot there. But that's some of the stuff you'll see from us this year. Some of that is already in plan, and we're working away on, and some of it will come out as we develop through the year and as we hold our meetings as a committee. Accounts and the financial position. So back to a kind of our structure. I'm quite happy to run this if you want.
There's nothing to...
So yeah, we started the year with nothing and we ended the year with nothing. We haven't been active this year in terms of doing events. However, there is plenty of people in the background who are willing to support us for our events coming up. So we expect that there is some financial stuff to be done this year with sponsorships and things like that. So that's good news. And then over to Chan for a secretary's report.
Just to note that we held 5 meetings last year and several catch-ups aside from that. Dates of meetings will be published in our AGM minutes. But yeah, regular meetings were held throughout the year to discuss our situation and to recruit and to plan for this year, really. So yeah, that's really all I can say for last year.
Fantastic. Thank you, Chan. So I'm just going to briefly touch on some of the training and up and coming IWFM events that people can get involved in. So there's a few things up and coming. So yeah, we talked about some of the pathways, but these are some of the events with QR codes. So if people are interested in getting involved in some of this training opportunity, by all means, scan a QR code or reach out to one of us afterwards and we'll point you in the right direction to sign up to those or go on the website and join those. There's some really interesting stuff there. So Building Safety Act, etc. as well. The market outlook survey report is out there for you to read and go through. Interesting information for those that want it. So yeah, by all means, again, please download that and have a look at it. The sustainability survey is also out. Yeah, I'm going to say it again, interesting. Bedtime reading for those that are keen on that, but likewise as an industry, we're pivotal on this, and this is going to be, I think this will be a COVID moment for us as an industry, whereby we get involved quite heavily within sustainability and recognised as professionals who get involved in that area, especially with the waste and stuff that's coming up there, the waste changes that are coming up this year. Mentoring. So we will be doing some more on this as a committee. However, I would encourage you all to have a look at mentoring and becoming a mentee if you've got the time. It's a really powerful tool for personal development and professional development. So yeah, by all means, scan the QR code, get involved. Great stuff. We did a session on this earlier in the year about the experiential route to certified status. I'm going through that process now myself. It's a really easy-ish way to do it, and previously where I wasn't able to do it because of university degrees and things, actually it enables me to develop further as well. So yeah, really good. Get involved in that too. And importantly, to touch on, we as a committee are strong. However, we need volunteers, as do many other of the SIGs, regions and networks. Ian has got some really fantastic webinars coming up. I highly recommend the 31st because that's the one I'm on. But yeah, please sign up if you've got the time. And Scott, I know you've touched on your voluntary elements that you do with the North and within the Risings and stuff. So thank you for that. But yeah, if you have got time, by all means, consider the People Development SIG if you've got an interest in that. And thank you for being here today, because you do. And look at the regions and other SIGs as well, and networks, if that is an area of interest. Come to the 31st, because that's the one I'm on. Impact Awards. Everybody loves the awards. So yeah, entry deadline's coming up quick. So if you've not entered, I'd get on it. But yeah, it looks to be a good year. Yeah, so as members, there's so much support out there, and really make the value of your membership beyond kind of being able to listen to me rattle on for an hour. But also there's all these other really useful things. I've been a member for 6-7 years and enjoyed it, and got involved in many things, including voluntary elements as well. So yeah, it has some real value, and that's the give back, I suppose, for your fee. So there's lots of things to get involved in there. Today is a CPD event, and on the screen is the QR code for that, or the code to apply to your CPD. And lastly, yeah, please check out more about our SIG. We are on LinkedIn. We are actively involved. We will be more involved, and we will be doing more things this year. So yeah, thank you very much. Last one. Any questions, I suppose? And I open it up to, we've got 5 minutes left. I open it up to everybody on the call. Any questions, anything else you'd like to see from us as SIG that we haven't already spoken about? Yes.
I've got a couple of questions in the chat, Sean, and I've also got a point of order. You're actually on the 1st of April.
So join the 1st of April, not the 1st. Thank you.
Yeah, and very welcome you are too, I will say. It's great, the support we're getting. We've got Addy's put one in a question. What is the significance of data analytics skills in FM? And Sarah again has come back with another interesting point. Industry leaders, this would include local government also, question mark. There's enormous change happening needed across local government estates, standardized approaches and thinking would assist this and bring the profession into the limelight where it should be, something that can support organisational goals. We are actually doing quite a bit of work with the government at the moment. We've got some things in post. So I can say IWFM are definitely doing that, and we will be working with our regions, SIGs and networks to keep that on. So yes, local government is an important one.
Yes, just to expand on that a little bit more. So Bill, as previously touched on, worked in government property management as well. So we've got some experience in the room. I'm targeting everybody and everybody who will listen to us about FM and people development. So yeah, if there's areas to explore within local government and central government, then we're absolutely after that. I have had conversations with IWFM about how we can get involved with that central government piece and develop that further, and start those bigger conversations. And I know some of those conversations are happening and encouraging as well. So it's good to hear. Yeah, so hopefully that answers that question. And then the significance of data analytics in FM, I think, is massive. I think that's one of those areas that we will touch on in terms of technology. And I think it's only going to get bigger as time goes on. I've done a few sessions on data analytics as well this year. And I think as an industry, that's going to be our new hammer as such. I think it's going to open up areas that we weren't able to necessarily see as easily before. But with that comes its challenges in terms of the right data, the right technology, and it not just being an overload of information that means nothing. It's about what you do with it and how it's applied. And I know it's a big focus this year in terms of some of the other events that are going on within the industry as well. Any more questions, Ian? Anybody on the call want to add anything?
No more in the chat.
Fantastic. We're about on time, which is good.
Perfect.
My only comment left is thank you everybody who joined. It's really appreciated to give us your time today to listen to us talk about what we're up to. And lastly, I'd also like to thank the team for their voluntary efforts this year. It is very much appreciated.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you, everybody.
Thanks, everyone. Bye.